Okay, I've got a sick bird. I think I'll eat it. I've got a sick bird laying eggs. I think I'll eat the raw eggs. Who does that? Are you kidding me? We're gonna have the 6-foot rule. Okay, so now I gotta go out in my backyard and I gotta put little stickers on the ground that are 6 feet away from my chickens at all times. Holy cow. Hi everyone, it's time for another bird flu update because it just won't go away. Remember, we've had all those conversations about Northwest Naturals that had to do the recall because they hit them on Christmas Eve with it. Kind of left them with no choice other than to do a recall because the cat died from bird flu and they tested the open package, which is not allowed, by the way, and no other samples of that food ever showed anything positive. Yeah, well, guess what? The FDA finally went in and actually did some testing and decided that it wasn't the food that caused the cat to have bird flu and have to be euthanized. Huh, how about that? Kind of what we've been saying. Well, then we've got some other ones. We have Wild Coast Raw and we have Savage cat food with the not negative results. Guess what? Further testing? Negative. Negative. Even though the cats having avian influenza was blamed on the food has now tested negative. Then Susan came out with this really great map. Raw pet food is distributed nationwide, but avian flu cases are not. Since the announcement by Oregon Department of Agriculture in late December 2024, yeah, kind of Christmas Eve, that a raw pet food was the source of avian flu that caused a cat death, which turned out later the pet food was not the source of the cat's infection, the number one question that we all keep receiving from pet owners is, should I stop feeding my cat raw food? Well, Susan owns 5 cats and 2 dogs, and they get raw and cooked food. I have 9 cats and 4 dogs. They're eating raw and gently cooked food. I don't have any plans to change. Neither does Susan. For the most part, pet owners have only been told about avian flu being detected in cats when it is linked to raw pet food or raw milk. But when you look at what regulatory authorities have not told us, the data tells a different story about avian flu. According to the USDA APHIS, Animal Plant Health Inspection Services, HPAI has been detected in 105 domestic cats since May of 2022. Okay, that's almost 3 years, 105 cats. And then we have a map across the entire US. The Southeast is kind of empty, but across the entire US with all kinds of mammals who have been where HPAI has been detected, including captive wild cats, domestic cats, wild cats, bear, wild canine, marine mammal, mustelid's like a ferret, lagomorph, raccoon, rodent, skunk, and a Virginia possum. And when you look at the map, you can see that they're all over the place. But pet foods are distributed nationwide. So if the pet food was the source, then we would see a map with uniform distribution of cases across the US, which we don't. The majority of the 105 domestic cat cases were linked to infection that happened via exposure to infected birds or other animals, like cats that live on the dairy farms. In late March and early April 24, Texas reported several cats from several dairy farms experiencing infections in dairy cows, suggesting the virus spread to the cats either from the infected dairy cows, the raw cow milk, or from the wild birds associated with those farms. We don't even know that the cats are getting it from the cows. Maybe they're all just exposed to the same wild birds that are infected. That aligns with more information from the CDC confirming the risk of raw pet food is minimal. Here's high-risk exposure. Working on farms with poultry or cows with confirmed avian influenza virus infection or sick poultry or cows exposed to those confirmed with HPAI infection. Known close animal contact. Examples provided for risk activities on farms include milking cows, getting splashed in the face or eyes with raw milk from cows, feeding or watering poultry or cows, handling carcasses of dead cows, poultry culling, depopulation, butchering, and evisceration. Close or prolonged contact with wild birds with confirmed influenza infection or their contaminated environments, known close bird contact. Note, close bird contact was expressed as within 6 feet. Are you kidding me? We're going to have the 6-foot rule. Okay, so now I got to go out in my backyard and I got to put little stickers on the ground that are 6 feet away from my chickens at all times. Holy cow. Examples provided for risk activities of close bird contact include people in direct contact with sick or dead wild birds. Well, sure. People involved in depopulation and culling of wild birds. Wildlife agency employees in direct contact with sick or dead wild birds, including defeathering, carcass removal, and disposal. Hunters who handle wild birds, and touching surfaces or materials contaminated by wild birds with saliva, mucus, or feces. With regards to raw milk, currently the level of risk to humans is unknown, but high level of concern based on available animal data. Example provided for risk of raw milk: drinking, consuming, or exposure to contaminated raw cow's milk from cows with confirmed infection or other products made from contaminated raw cow's milk. Well, if you have a cow who's confirmed with infection, no normal person would say, yeah, let's drink the raw milk from the cow that we have a positive test and a sick cow. You can't drink the milk from a sick cow, no matter what they have. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the CDC's perspective on consumption of raw meat and eggs considered low risk of exposure. From the CDC, low risk of exposure. Consuming potentially raw or undercooked poultry products or eggs from poultry with confirmed infection. So again, okay, I've got a sick bird, I think I'll eat it. I've got a sick bird laying eggs, I think I'll eat the raw eggs. Who does that? One more statistic. The AVMA states there were 73.8 million cats in the US in 2024. The category of raw pet food is between 2 to 3% of the US pet food market. If 2% of cats were eating a raw pet food, that would be 1,476,000 cats consuming a raw pet food daily. Well, great, I only have 9 of those. If the cases of HPAI currently being investigated test to confirm the pet food was the source, estimating 5 potential cases, the risk of raw pet food exposing your cat to HPAI is an estimated, get ready for it, 0.0003%. Yeah, there you go. And this is something really interesting because I remember this story. The greater risk is feeding feed-grade pet food. In an FDA warning letter issued to Mid-America Pet Food, the agency stated, quote, FDA investigators observed rainwater entering your facility through the roof while you were manufacturing multiple lots of dog food. Bird feces on the roof of this facility could contaminate the pet food with HPAI. In an inspection report of a Mars pet care facility, the FDA noted this pet food manufacturer, 1, failed to inspect, segregate, or otherwise handle raw materials and ingredients used in manufacturing under conditions that will protect the animal food against contamination and minimize deterioration, and failed to take effective measures to exclude pests from the plant and protect against contamination of animal food by pests. Think bugs, rats, and mice. In 2008, in a Petco distribution center. During an FDA inspection of a Petco distribution center in April, widespread and active rodent and bird infestation was found. The FDA inspected the facility again in May and found continuing and widespread infestation. Let's see, wild birds in a pet food facility. Yeah. Nothing to see here. Feed-grade pet foods and feed-grade manufacturing are not held to the same safety standards as human food. With known contamination risks being high with wild birds, manufacturing and warehousing standards must be free of bird infestations to protect the safety of pet foods. With relation to pets, the CDC states, sick animals may be able to transmit influenza virus to people in their saliva, feces, or droppings and other body fluids. Human infections can occur when the virus is inhaled or gets into a person's eyes, nose, or mouth. This can happen when the virus is in the air and a person breathes it in, or when a person touches something that has virus on it and touches their mouth, eyes, or nose. Every pet owner has to make up their own mind to what they feel is safe for their own pets. But as for Susan and I, we're putting our trust in pet foods manufactured and warehoused to human food safety standards. And at this point, we have no evidence of transmission of HPAI from cats to people. So anyway, you do you. I'm going to do me. My cats are eating raw.